Got another CRT set. This one's a small Toshiba. I turn it on. There's no, or actually very low sound. And I'll also treat you guys with the engineer's method of properly adjusting color and chroma phase controls. This time I have a Toshiba little 14-inch set. Let's see what's wrong with this one. This one's got a picture, but it has no sound. And there's some minor burn-in. Looks like the screen control might be a little bit high too. This set looks like it had been used in a security camera system. And looks like there was 4 cameras on here and a black line separating them because you can see where there was no video. So it's got a bit of phosphorus screen burn. It's not that serious, not like the one I've got in here, which I've been using for years. The one I've got here, take a look at it. So this one, this is severe burn. You can see, without even the set being turned on, you can see the outline of the door. This set used to run a lot. It doesn't run that much anymore. It only runs when I'm in the shop. But it used to run all the time. And if you look at the burn-in, the burn-in looks different because it was different cameras that were there before. If we look at the ghosting from the previous image, right? It was a different DVR. It actually had the letter R in red on the screen. It's a different DVR and different view. But same place. The camera was in the same place. Anyway, that's what will happen in the extreme. This set was run for many years. It has a timer built in, so I used to have it set so that it turned itself on in the morning and it would run throughout the day, and then it would turn itself off like at 10 o'clock at night when everybody was not going to be around. I had it in my kitchen, which was always the focal point of the house when my kids were little and they were home all day, or home after school. This set sat on top of the refrigerator, and or on top of the cabinet over the fridge, I should say. It was a perfect fit because it fit right between the top of the cabinet and the ceiling. There's still a monitor there now. It's just an LCD set that was given to me a number of years ago, and this one was brought out to the workshop. But it used to run all day. I bought it in 2006. So one of the last of the CRT sets. This is the last new set I bought, and I bought it to replace a Toshiba, which blew up, and the picture tube was just about totally shot. So I replaced it with this. I picked the set up for 39 bucks at Walmart. I say I should have bought 2 of them. Anyway, that's severe burn, and this little one here has not anywhere near the amount of burn-in that this one has. You can actually see, it looks like at the top here, where there may have been time display. I don't know where this set came from. I don't think this was used here. Or if it was used here as a monitor, it would have been a long, long time ago. Anyway, it's got no sound. So let's fix it. And then maybe we'll find a new home for this. I know that the guy with that other, the set with the bad yoke, he may be looking for a set, and this might be one that will work for him for playing classic video games, because you really don't notice this when it's running that badly. So it may be acceptable for that. Of course, it's got a fire hazard lying right in the back. Paper stickers that drop into the back and should sit where there's hot components. This one's had the vertical circuit replaced, the capacitors in the vertical circuit replaced. I'm sure I did that before on this one, because I think I've looked at this one before when it had a vertical problem, and it's got new capacitors. Big problem with Toshibas were they usually used a little red capacitor down here. This one's been changed to a green one, but they used to use a little red capacitor and that little red cap always failed. We look at the yoke on this. This one's a totally different yoke than, say, that other TV. This one's got a linearity coil as part of the yoke. It's one of the reasons you can't just swap yokes. Plus, the neck is, I think, narrower on this set than the other set. So you can't just go and change yokes. But this one here looks to be in good shape. The only problem with this set is we have no sound. So the audio circuit on this set is right down over here. So somewhere in the audio circuit there's a failed part. Could very well be one of these capacitors that's failed, but let's do some tests and see. This one's a chassis TAC 8935. Not that that really means anything these days, because trying to find schematics for TVs, it's relatively easy to find schematics for audio equipment, but a lot of these TVs, there are no schematics available for them. We just kind of have to stare at the circuit and figure it out. Also, look at the board here. It looks like a pin cushion. It's like, why are there so many holes drilled in this board? Was it for other models? Probably. It was probably the same board used in multiple sets, like televisions that had AV inputs or stereo sound and so forth. Because as you can see, where those holes are drilled, there actually is traces, although they're not populated. So this was probably for stereo or for AV inputs. I think AV inputs, because there's where the jacks would be right there. AV inputs for sure, probably stereo sound. The same chassis may very well have been used in multiple sets. Although perhaps not stereo, it might just be AV inputs because it only has a mono amplifier, but it's clearly laid out on the board. It's over here. So let's get this one hooked up and we'll get power to it, get a signal source, and see if we can find where the signal is low or missing. I believe these are the audio outputs right there. Or are these vertical? No, these are vertical. That's vertical IC. This is the audio outputs right here. So I'll take a closer look at this IC and see whether it needs to be resoldered as well. Quite often the connections on the ICs went bad and they needed to be touched up. Yeah, they're not bad on this one. This is a hot chassis. When you're working on a hot chassis, you must use an isolation transformer. I know I've mentioned that before. It's worth reminding people that a hot chassis needs to be isolated, especially if you're going to do things like connect your scope up. Because if you are on a hot chassis and the AC line is reversed, you'll end up with line current on the ground, which is be bad. So got to get the scope going. As I say, this one here, I'll likely need the scope to find out where the audio is missing or where the audio is weak. If I put my ear right up to the speaker, I can hear very, very faint sound. So I'm just going to ground my scope to one of the ground points on the chassis and look at the audio from the output transistor. And I don't see any usable signal. It's going to crank the volume up all the way. Where is volume up? Okay. So that's turned up all the way, and I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it's very low sound. I don't see anything on the audio output. So it's prior to the output transistors. Go back to the driver transistor here. I think this one's the driver. Nothing. I'm going to probe the IC. I got no signal coming out of the IC, so I'm just going to just probe some of the inputs to the IC. Oh, now it's loud.
Enjoy the new season.
What the heck?
Stocked and ready for fall. Plus the services that make everything for life out here.
Oh, that's weird. Something in this area here. That's weird. Just the loading of my probe. Weird. Just loading my probe. I'm putting on an L604. Is there a capacitor across here maybe that's gone bad? That is weird. Where else does this go? What's this one here?
Suggestion, ask your doctor about Nurtec today.
People everywhere living are waking up to what's possible with rebellion.
There's something in this area here.
Any other diet?
Something in the L604 area of the circuit is which is this one right down here. Where are we here? L604 is right down here. You see, I'm just touching the probe to here.
Endoplasia syndrome type 2. Or
That might be a capacitor across
get
there.
medical help right away. Feeling in your neck, severe sleep.
Doesn't do anything when I touch that side of this coil.
Tell your provider vision on taking reverses for the soul.
Could be a bad capacitor, I guess. We've got it localized to where the problem is. Well, this is L604 right here. I'm just wondering, maybe it's just out of tune from sitting all these years. I'm going to try just tweaking that slightly. Do I have a tweaker or adjuster for that? That will fit. I have one around somewhere. Try this one.
Marianne says they normally slept in the same bed, but didn't that night because James wasn't feeling well.
She decided to sleep on the
Interesting.
sofa in the family room in the basement.
They had a finished basement with a TV, bar, and all that kind of stuff in it.
Okay, we'll turn this down now. So I got good volume now. Now, how that got out of tune like that, it's going to be one of the capacitors in here has drifted in value, I guess, has detuned it. I certainly did not. If somebody's thinking that I staged this one, I did not. Okay, I wouldn't do that to you guys. This is how I pulled it out from under the bench here. What we need to do on this one, in addition to fixing that, is I think the screen control is a little bit high. To say this one here probably has had no sound for a long time, because what this set was used for a long time was just as a monitor for cameras. It wasn't used as a television, so the sound would have never been needed. Plug the degaussing coil back in, and we'll turn the set back on, and this time I'll adjust the screen control down a bit, because I think it's a little bit on the bright side. It's a little bit too washed out, and when you turn the brightness all the way down, it doesn't get dim enough. And I like to have it set so that in the middle position, it's got the proper brightness range, and not have to turn it all the way down to minimum. So let's just turn on the power again and adjust the screen control. to make the picture look normal. I'll reset everything. I got the contrast, brightness, sharpness, color, and tint all set to the middle position. I think that does it for them all. Oh, that's better. Much better. I'll kill some light in here so that I can actually set this thing up properly. The proper way to set up color bars, of course, you need to have a proper color bar signal. In this case, a SMPTE signal, which has got not just your color bars, but you also need your black reference. And in particular, you need to have this, the black reference level, as it's called. Typically, when you're adjusting your black level, you want to make it so that this particular portion of the bar, this lighter section, is just barely visible, and this part is completely black. So we set everything to the default position, reset. And I'm going to now reach around and I'm going to adjust, without electrocuting myself, the screen control to make that. See, now my screen control is too dark. I want to make it so that that bar right here is just barely becoming visible. I'll zoom the camera in so you can see what I'm doing. So this is the section of the screen I'm looking at. We want to make make this part be black, but this other bar needs to be just barely visible. So once that bar there is just barely visible, our screen control is now set correctly. Now when I look at this picture is actually very good, other than the fact that there's a bar across the screen that is visible. It is still a functional CRT set, and for someone who needs a functional set, they might be able to put up with a bit of that for looking at retro games and so forth on it. Looks good. Looks good. If I go to any of the other channels that I've preset here, if I see, that looks natural. That looks good too. My cameras, where are my cameras? They're on 9. I can adjust the focus control a bit on here. Try to get the focuses a little bit sharper. You can see the focus changing there. But yeah, it's got a really good picture. Color parts are looking pretty darn good.
Making excuses not to come home.
Allergens are little terrors all around us.
There, I can put the ad on.
Sometimes even in our clothes. Take them on with All Free Clear. Its powerful clean removes tough stains and 99% of top allergens. All Free Clear, the #1 doctor-recommended brand for sensitive skin.
Why do nearly 1 million businesses choose Stamps.com to mail and ship? No more trips to the post office. No more paying full price for postage. And great rates from USPS and UPS. Mail letters. Ship packages. Anytime, anywhere. For less. A lot less. Get our special TV offer. A 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale. Go to Stamps.com/TV and never go to the post office again.
2 choices, sign it or sign it. That's one choice. And these crazy high interest rates.
Drop that pen. Before you sign that, raise your credit scores instantly with Experian.
I can't get away with commercials without having to get hit with copyright. That's why I'm letting them play. But yeah, this TV I think is done.
And with those credit scores,
It's where's my volume on this thing? I'll turn it down.
boost your credit scores.
Volume's working now. Okay, so yeah, this one's done. But yeah, color bar generator makes it pretty easy to set up your black level and your contrast and your chroma and everything. And if I wanted to do the color, the tint and color control, a blue filter, like look through a blue lens and you line up the blue colors. So that used to be included with the Laserdisc video standard. They gave you a blue, primary blue filter to look through, and it was that color of blue. You can also turn off the red and the green outputs to the CRT, because of course there's blue in all of these components. And what you do is you adjust your brightness so that this is just barely showing, which it is now in the center position. If I go in through the brightness control, you'll see I gotta hold the board in the back so it doesn't push forward. But if I go through the brightness, for example, if I turn up the brightness, you'll see the black levels coming up, right? And if you turn down the brightness, you'll see the black levels going back down. And I say I've got it set so that just in the reset position, this is just barely showing, which is what you need to be at. But what you would do with the blue filter, or turning off the red and the green, is you adjust your color and your tint. You adjust your color level so that the blue all appears the same level. So right now everything would look the same shade because there's no chroma. As you add color, whoops, that's volume because I'm not in the setting mode now. It's the same buttons. As you add your chroma back, or color, you will saturate the color filter, and what you're doing is you are wanting to make sure that the blue levels all look the same brightness of blue. If your color level is too strong, then the blue will bleed through and you'll see excessive blue compared to the white band. And then what you do is then the next setting is the tint setting, which is this one. And when you do adjust the tint, you're looking at the blue between these two bars. You want to make the blue the same level. Like this one will appear brighter than the other, and so forth, when you adjust the tint. And as you roll the tint the other way, these two will change. So when you're looking at the blue portion, or when you're looking at the color level, you're looking at the difference between the blue level between the white and the blue bar. That's what I was trying to get at. When you increase and decrease the color, you want the intensity of the white bar and the blue bar to be equal. So you adjust your chroma level so that looking through a blue filter, these look the same. I have a blue filter. I don't know how it'll come across if I put it over in front of the camera. Maybe if I lock the white balance, guys might see what I'm talking about, and we can kind of display it and demonstrate it. So I'm going to disconnect the red and green transistors so that there's no red and green drive. I'll just disconnect the base to the transistor. This one is, where is this one? This is red, or this is green. So that's the green transistor there. So we'll just disconnect the base. I can do it by disconnecting the base on this one. This should kill the green video. And the red one goes through to this one here. This is the base for the red. So this should remove the red signal. So what we want to do is we want to adjust the color level so that these two bars here, the blue and the white, and the blue and the white, we're ignoring these ones right now, those are on the tint. We're going to look at these two outside bars, and we're going to adjust the color level so that they are sharpness, color, this should be color here, yes. We're going to adjust them so that we bring the color level up so that they're of equal brightness. You see the levels changing? So now our chroma is pretty much equal level. If I turn it down, you see the difference. So we want to adjust those so that they are about equal right there. So you get an equal level between the split. Now we're going to do the same for the tint. The tint is going to be contrast, brightness, sharpness, color, tint. Got to kind of count that sharpness. Color, tint. This should be tint. Now we're going to adjust the tint. You see what's happening now. See the color levels changing between these bars here. We want to make them the same so that they're equal. So we're at one extreme there. Let's come the other way. And once we get so that they look equal brightness, then our color and tint is now calibrated. That's the way the pros do it. They shut the video off. Now, obviously, if you don't have a way of shutting off the video signal to the red and the green, you can just use a color filter and look through it. And it'll block the other colors because all you want to see is the primary color. So the idea is your color level will make the white and blue the same intensity, and the tint will make the cyan and magenta, because this is normally cyan and that's magenta and that's magenta and that's cyan. You balance them so that they're equal. So now when I turn back on the other guns, our picture is now calibrated. So let's do that. We'll kill the power. Turn the TV around again and reconnect the transistor base leads that I disconnected. Now when I turn the set on, and the tube warms up, we have calibrated the color and tint. And if I look at where they are on here, you'll be quite surprised as to where they actually are. Color level is way up there for calibration, and the tint is almost on the other side. That's calibrated as close as you're going to ever get a monitor like this. If I reset it, it's going to go back to the center settings. But that's how you do it, and I mean that looks pretty much perfect. Look at the color, even being picked up by the camera. That is about as good a color as you're ever going to get on a little CRT like this, especially something that's as old as this is. That looks fantastic. Yeah, that's right on. That color is just absolutely dead on. It's fantastic. Anyway, don't want to leave that playing. We'll leave the color bars on. I don't have to worry about getting any complaints launched for copyright if I just show color bars, although someone might try to copyright color bars. Anyway, that's this little Toshiba that had the sound problem. As I said, this is just music that plays on this channel. Actually, I just normally have scenery playing on here as well. I went and plugged my camera in, and this is one of my professional cameras, obviously, that generates these type of color bars. But that's what's needed for, if you want to calibrate a monitor, you need this pattern of color bar. And you can do it off videotape as well. Like you could have a DVD recorded with these, or a videotape. Hey, that's an idea. Start selling video files and DVDs recorded with color bars from my professional camera for people to set up their CRT monitors. But saying that, this can be used to set up any monitor. Any color monitor you can set up with this. You can set up an LCD monitor. You can set up a plasma monitor. Those ones is a little more difficult to turn the red and the green off, though. You can't just unsolder the base for the transistor that drives the CRT. You would need to use the royal blue filter. But if you have a primary color blue filter to look through, then you can do it on any. You can do it on LCD, you can do it on a plasma screen, you can do it on OLED, and you can do it on, of course, a CRT. Anyway, this one's done. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.